So I get asked from time to time about how I do my renders with the backplate. So here's a little breakdown. It's not so much a tutorial, but kind of a process of what I go through to set up my shots. So I'm gonna do this 0086. It's a backplate I shot in downtown LA. So first things first is you go in your viewport, hold Alt, press B, go to Files, load the backplate 0086, click Open, press OK. So there's the backplate. Now step 2 is to match the backplate. So I'll go create a camera, go in the back, and there we go. Now the dimensions of the focal length is 70 millimeter. That's what I want to match. So go to Modify tab, that's 70. Next thing you want to do is make sure, well, this is my process. You can do whatever you want. For ISO, I set it to 100. Shutter is 200th of a second, and aperture is 5.6. Alright, so there's that. Next, I create a plane. Now, because I live in the United States, the measurement system here is feet and inches. The average lane width is 9 to 10 feet. So I'm going to make it 10 feet wide, 50 feet long, or 60 feet long. Now I'm going to press S to turn on snap tools. Make sure vertex is the mode. Hold shift, drag it there, instance. Hold shift, drag it there, instance. There we go. Now I'm going to isolate this, press F3. And now all I have to do in my perspective view, now that I'm controlling the camera, is go in and make sure my edges match the edges of the lane. And this is how I match my perspective. You could eyeball it and get it right or wrong, or you could do it a similar way to this. Again, this is just my way. Neither is right or wrong. There we go, make it longer. See how it extends out in the distance. Maybe bring it down some more. So, for the sake of the tutorial, or breakdown, I'm happy with this. Alright, so turn off edges, unhide the car. There we go. So next thing I want to do is take this and bring it up to the same area as my tires of the car. So I'm going to select my wheels. There we go. And I'm going to select my camera and hold Alt, press Q, isolate those elements, deselect the wheels. Now go to the front view, and I'm dragging the floor along with the camera upward. So that way the placement of my body doesn't change, but the scene does, but however my perspective doesn't get adjusted. Alright, now that I have that done, I'm going to unhide it. So the car's really small, and I'd like to be a little more closer to me, a little more in frame. So this is what I'm going to do. I am not going to move the car, because especially if you're working in, with OEM clients and they send you CAD data, or really any client that sends you CAD data, you kind of want to work with where they fall into place. At least that's my workflow, because that way if they send me a new bumper, it'll fall exactly where it should go. So what I like to do is I like to go create a point. I'm going to make it 0, 0, 0. Increase the size. Make sure it's a box. Move it up. I'm going to select the camera, select the ground, and I'm linking it to the point. Now, all I have to do is move the point back, forward, see, and the car gets closer, further away, and my perspective never changes. Now, if I rotate the car, same thing, my perspective is always the same. So now, I could do a front 3/4 view, knowing that this is to scale and proportional, but I'm not going to. Alright, so next is you want to go into your camera and change the target distance to get a little closer. So I'm going to aim at the tail lights. There we go. I like to incorporate real depth of field, so I'm going to turn that on. 5.6 is accurate to what I shot it at. 5.6. Alright, so next thing, I'm going to press 8, open up the environment tab. What I'm going to do here now is load the image from the set, so 086. Alright. Now I'm going to take this and drag it into an empty material slot as an instance. I'm going to change this to screen, output, change it to 12. And this all has to do with my exposure settings. So I'm really not going to get into it of how I figure that value out. It's just a matter of what works for me. What might work for you might not. Alright, so next I'm going to press F10. As far as my render settings go, I don't use GI. I'm going to turn on distributed with my render slaves. I'm going to do 1 and 8, 0, 0, 5, and that's more or less it. So I'm going to do 4000, so 8256, 5504 is the original resolution of the backplate. Now I don't really want to render that much for the tutorials, so I'm going to do 4000, and it naturally scales itself down as long as you have it locked. Alright, so last thing left is to create a V-Ray HDRI. So I'm going to go to V-Ray Dome, put a dome in there. I'm going to load a V-Ray HDRI into the dome, put that in there. Now let's see which one matches. So this dome has an opening, I have an opening. I'm going to use the 8000 version, not the 20,000. Alright, so next thing, I'm going to take this, drag it into a material slot as an instance, flip it, because that's what you always have to do. Now what I'm going to do is set the multiplier to 15. This is going to be just a starting point. The next and last thing we have to do is give us the floor reflection. So what I'm going to do is another material slot, make it a V-Ray material. It's going to take a second to load. Don't know why. I'll pause it. Alright, it unfroze, so I'm going to make it a V-Ray material. For diffuse, I'm going to do camera map per pixel. For camera, I'm going to select the camera. For texture, I'm going to do bitmap. Choose that. Turn off blur. And then just put it 360, and that I think is just me personally. I like to see the whole thing wrap around. Alright, go down, apply it. There we go. Now I am going to turn on RT, and my fans might pick up on the computer, so it might get a little louder in here. Alright, RT is turning on. So there we go. Now all I gotta do is go and rotate the HDRI to match what I have in my backplate. So there's that. As you can see, I'm a little overexposed, so I'll turn this down a notch. So go down to 8. 5. Texture resolution, I'm going to bring it up to 4000. I mean, at this point I'll make it 8000. As you can see, the ground is being projected from the camera. Now if I make this invisible, there we go. So now as you can see, what's happening is we're having two different sets of tones. So I'm going to select the camera, turn off white balance, make it neutral. Now what I do want to do, and this is again my personal workflow, there might be a better method, I just don't know it. I go to output, enable color map, RGB. I'll go to the blue channel and bring this down. Go to the green channel, bring this down. Bring this up. And with this, I just kind of play with it until I get it to match. So almost there, bring this down. And the beautiful thing about Corona, they have the Corona tone map control, which takes care of all this for you. Unfortunately, V-Ray doesn't have it, so I kind of go about it this way. So now that I have this matching, as you can see, it's kind of seamless back here. I am not going to be using this in terms of a viewport preview. So V-Ray properties, check these three, -1, press close. Now I have my backplate. So there's that. Now my tones in the yellow match the backplate. So now I could take this and bring it even closer. So I'll Just do it like that. Alright, so there we have it. Now what I can do is, if I want, bump up the HDRI just a little bit more. And if I want to add more fill and not so much contrast, what you want to do is, under inverse gamma, bring this value up a bit, and that's going to flatten the HDRI. So it does weaken the shadows a bit, but you can get a little more detail in your reflections and your hotspots. So I'll go 1.3, and it kind of gives you more of an ambient fill in the whole thing. So there we go, and now I'm going to bump this up to 10. So now, as you can see, I have a little more visibility in my car. So that's pretty much my workflow for setting up a backplate and HDRI render. So now let's say, hypothetically speaking, you want to add some strobe effects to this shot. So what you want to do is, instead of doing a matte object, uncheck that. So now we have our ground back in there. And what I'll do, for the sake of making sure it's perfectly matching, I'm going to make it so I could see this line. And now I could see what's happening here. So as you can see, we have maybe a little more warmth in our backplate, or in our reference plane, versus the backplate. So it's not a lot, but just to get a little better, I'm bump up the blue channel just a smidge. And the green one just a hint as well. There we go. That's pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to unhide that. So now, if I go and add an extra light source, so for instance, if I was to shoot this on location, I want to strobe the rear end. I'm going to create a disc light. This kind of represents my strobe head. Could go back here, do targeted, aim it at my car, then make it kind of like a funnel, because I'd use a reflector on the head. So directional 0.5, and then change it to watts, 55, 100 watts. And so now, as you can see, what's happening is I'm getting this fill on the ground, and this is what is kind of going to help with that realism in terms of getting a directional light source. So if you don't have it affecting the ground, it's just you're getting these fake lights or additional lights on the car that don't match the backplate. So this is one way of being able to add these elements to your images and also affecting the thing. Now again, the beautiful thing about Corona is they just have a checkbox that says affect shadow catcher, but unfortunately V-Ray does not have that feature. Maybe in the future they will. As of right now, they don't. But what they do have, and this is what I love, and Corona does not have it, and they're pretty hard-headed in terms of adding it because it's not real. Unfortunately, because it's not real doesn't mean it's not good, because in retouching, I would go and I'd remove all these reflections of the strobe head. This is what I would do in real life, and the beautiful thing about V-Ray is they just have this affect reflections thing. Turn that off, and now you just have your metallic diffuse highlights. Again, this is something that is done all the time by photographers, and because Corona doesn't want to add it, it's kind of pathetic, because it is something that's very important, and it is something that is done all the time. So the fact that V-Ray does allow this is amazing. So now I'll just bump this up even more. Bring this up. And this might not be kind of like the best example, but it will show you how to add this little extra light on the ground with it looking more natural. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and copy this over, add another one in case I need it to bleed over to the left more. And I'll go in, select this, 200, so that way I just have kind of a natural fill. I'll go to copy the light. Nope, I don't want to have snap on when I move it. There we go. Just to give me a little fill. And actually, whatever, let's make it fake. So I'll give myself a 3/4 view of the car. And then because I did that, what I'll do is I'll go into the HDRI, uncheck invisible, and make sure you adjust it accordingly. So that way your placement of the HDRI still matches. 330, 321, 331. There we go. Make that invisible. And so now what I can do is move this strobe head a little bit over here and down some and get some nice hits happening right there. And lower this one a hint. So there we go. That is essentially my workflow for creating a rendering into a backplate, along with adding fake lights and having them affect the ground. And so now that I'm happy, I'll fire off actual high-res render of this. It's going to connect to my render nodes and should be done in a couple minutes. So I'll freeze this. So there we go. A little bit over 4 minutes and it's done. Now last things left is turn on the flares. First I'll dial them in my normal render view and then I'll throw them into as a render element. So because this is all kind of ambient light, we're not going to get anything, and since we made the reflection of the dome head invisible, we're not really going to get any of those pings, which I don't really mind. I know we're going to get a little bit something happening down here, so if we turn up the intensity you'll see it, but again this is going to be very minimal because we turned off the reflection ability of the dome. So that's about it. So now what I'll do is I'll throw this on a render element only. I'll save this out and throw some curves on it in post, and that's it. That's pretty much my car renderings. Of course, now you might spend more time doing it, but in a gist, this is it.